our one. Let's light it up with our love. We can do it as one. A happier world. A happy world. Chicken. Chicken. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one together. One. We are one together. One. A world of plenty.
ஆண்டவன் சொல்லுகிற அருணாச்சலம் முடிக்கிறான்.
എന്റെ ദൈവമേ, നമുക്ക് തമിഴ് പഠിച്ചില്ല. മൊത്തം പറ, നിങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞു കൊടുക്ക് തമിഴ്.
ഒന്നുമേ പുരിയാതെ
അത്ര അറിയാം, അത് മതി. ഹിന്ദി നഹിമാനും
ഹിന്ദി സിനിമ കാണാറില്ല എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ.
വെൽക്കം ടു മിസ്റ്റി ഇവിടെ സ്ഥിരവും പടിയില്ല, അങ്ങനല്ലേ?
അതെനിക്ക് നേരത്തെ അറിയാം.
Of the things we think, say or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
ഇന്നത്തെ ഈ ചടങ്ങിൽ ഇവിടെ എത്തിച്ചേർന്ന എല്ലാ റെഫറൻസും സ്വാഗതം നേരുന്നു.
രാമേശ്വരയിലെ ഗ്രാൻഡ്മദർ ശ്രീമതി പേരി ദിവസം മരണപ്പെട്ടിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ പരേരയുടെ ആത്മാവിനെ സംബന്ധിക്കാൻ ഒരു നിമിഷം സ്പീക്കേഴ്സ് മീറ്റിംഗിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് സംവിധാനം.
Respected guest of honor, Simadhi sir, Vice President, Rotary, Secretary, Dr. Misty, and the host, Rotarian Meadows, and my dearest fellow Rotarians. Rotary speech, speaker, ആകണമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ I thought that I will speak something about myself. And actually, I was always thinking who I am or what I have become. When I was born, there wasn't, or I don't think that day was celebrated, but I started that celebrating my birthday only when I became a graduate student. I was lucky to be born on 14th February on Valentine's Day in 1968, just a year before men landed in moon. I had my schooling like any other child in the local village school. I was an average student. I had only a minimum pass mark during 10th standard. But I was the teacher's pet till the 4th standard. I was the best in all, in everything. And I understood that it was the teacher, how a teacher can mold children. I did my pre-degree, degree and post-graduation from Rotary College. And I was not aware why I chose English. Later only I understood. Maybe that is like the Robert Frost poem says. Two roads in a divorced wood, and I took the less traveled by. And I am even like that, even now. If there is another way to escape from this room, instead of choosing that door, I would choose the risky one, or the one that normally people don't choose. I always choose the difficult path. When I was writing the examinations, I used to think of the difficult questions. the difficult questions will be very rarely attempted. Or most of the students will skip difficult question. I would go for the difficult question. And when I read, I usually look for as many questions as possible. Usually, children when they study, they look for the questions written and their answers. But I always look for the unwritten questions. I don't look only the questions. I not only look at the questions given, but I always look for unwritten questions. And then I used to ask my teachers, why these questions are not there? Then they would say, definitely, you are clever enough to find such a question. Okay? They may not have an answer, immediate answer. Very often they didn't have such answers. I remember when I was doing my post-graduation, I was studying one of the plays by T.S. Eliot,
Okay.
the one who has written Wasteland. And he has written a famous play, Murder in the Cathedral. And there is a bishop, and the bishop was in exile into France for 10 years. And the play begins when he comes back. His coming back has created a great turmoil. All people became very, very much afraid. People knew that the king will take revenge on the bishop. People knew that there will be a conflict between the bishop and the Archbishop of Canterbury and the king. And then he comes, the priests arrange, immediate arrival is welcomed. But what happened is that the bishop is assassinated. Now, I asked the professor, is it not that what he wanted? Because he knew that is the easiest way to become a saint. Because if he is murdered in the cathedral while he is praying without taking any arms against his enemies, is it not? He was sure that he will be killed. And there were many ways to escape, but he didn't escape. And he couldn't immediately answer because that is not the relevance of the play. The play is studied in a very different manner. That because the bishop has to become a saint, but that is another story anyway. What I wanted to say was that, I always look for the difficult things and ask unanswered or unasked questions. One thing I remember is that in my 56 years, I haven't applied for a job. Usually, when I was doing my graduation, post-graduation and all, there were many postgraduates looking for jobs. And whenever there was a debate in the college, I used to say, there is nothing called unemployment. I was not employed at all, but I was a student. I always used to argue that there is nothing called unemployment. Today, I did much more than two. If two painters had come to my house, I am sure they wouldn't have done that much work. I love working. Any job is a respectable job for me. I used to enjoy writing examinations. And I don't know whether you will believe or not. If I have prepared and if I really wish to write an examination, I can dream the questions. I used to dream the questions and I used to dream the answers too. And even the words and expressions that I haven't studied used to come in my dream. So all my examinations I used to enjoy. And then what to become was a big question. I decided to become a teacher when I became a postgraduate. And the first job was not through an application. I had an invitation for an interview in the job that I hadn't applied. Actually, it was my uncle who had written to a German missionary school principal. So when I went for the interview, the sister asked, "Who is Father Chaco Baliyathil?" So I said, "He is my uncle." And he said, "Do you know why we called you for the interview?" I said, "Actually, I have no idea." Then she said, "It was 3 years ago when you were doing your second year graduation, your uncle had written to us. So assuming that you are a good student, you would have done your post-graduation this year. That's how we invited you." I was selected, and then they waited for me to ask for something, and that was the salary. I didn't ask. And then they were surprised. The job was in Bhopal, the first job, and I haven't asked for the salary. Then they wanted to insist, "Joseph, don't you want to know about the salary?" I said, "No, I don't want to know about the salary. The salary, whatever you give, if it is a good salary, it's not the amount that matters. If you are satisfied with my job, and if you are paying me, that money will be worth enough." My friends have studied there. What I was really wanted to say that, that evening, this priest took me to the bishop house in Ujjain, and he introduced me to the manager of St. Paul's School. And I still remember what he said. ഞാനൊരു ജോസഫ് സാറിന്റെ കാര്യം പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ, ട്രെയിനിൽ വെച്ച് പരിചയപ്പെട്ട് അദ്ദേഹമായിരുന്നു. Then he asked me whether I would join this job. I had no other job, but I was so happy I joined. The principal was late Bishop Katumana, Abraham Katumana's sister was the principal. I worked another 3 more years there. And then in a piece of paper, I used to read Times of India. I saw an advertisement, and this advertisement was an walk-in interview for teachers to Oman. And I asked my friend, Mr. Kuti, he was from Bombay. He said, "If you are going to Bombay, you should have some money. If you are going to Bombay, you should go one day early. You should visit the place where the interview is being conducted. And you must be thorough with everything being conducted on the 6th floor." The next morning when I went there was a huge crowd waiting for the lift. The lift in Bombay usually takes 30 to 40 people. Huge lift. Now, I understood. My grandfather had told me that you should always take an extra mile. Instead of waiting for the lift, I walked up as fast as I could. And when I reached on top, I found there were nearly 20 people in a queue. I didn't know what the queue is. There was nobody to tell. So I walked to the front, and there was a young lady waiting at the desk. And I told a lie. The lie was that I had sent you a fax yesterday and I haven't got a reply, and that's why I have come. It is Santhosh Travels. So, have you come for the teacher's interview? English teacher's interview? Yes. Do you have a passport? Yes. Do you have a graduation and post-graduation in English? Yes. Do you have 4 years of teaching experience? Yes. Please, get it. So then there was a written interview, and then there was a face-to-face interview, and the contract was signed after the medical the next day. I didn't know where Oman was. And then they asked, "Where do you want to be posted in Oman?" I said, "The contract says clearly that you should be ready to work anywhere in Oman." And they said, do you have any preference? I said, no preference because I don't know the places. So I worked the next 10 years there without any change with the ministry. In 2000, that was in 2008 up to, I went there in 1997, September 27. And this was in 2008, I decided I will do something for professional development myself. And then I went to, that year I applied to Cambridge and I was selected. I did CELTA, a Cambridge certificate program from Cambridge in 2008. And then as I was traveling, I saw an ad. It was another walk-in interview at Reading by CFBT, Center for British Teachers. I went there. It was like looks like a huge place where global recruitment was going on. I was interviewed. I was selected, and my 1,000 rupee salary, you must be remembering, which went up to 3 lakhs, which was $5,000 US. So I didn't ask them the salary even at that time. But they took care of everything. I worked with them next 6 years. 2015 I came back. And when I came back also, I didn't apply for a job. Actually, I had gone to this Mambetta for my cousin's housewarming. And there was a priest and he was from Don Bosco. He asked me, having come from abroad, why don't you join the college? I said, it's okay. And I worked with them. And my son Kevin, he was Pallotians, studying at Pallotti. And they didn't start +2 there. I went to Raja Residential School one day for to know how the admission was, procedure was. I went there, I talked to the principal, I got everything, all information, and that evening I had a call. And that was from Fasal Ghafoor. He said, he asked me, Joseph, have you been to Raja Residential School today? Yes. Did you talk almost everything to the principal? Yes. He recommended you as one of the principals in MES schools. Why don't you come for an interview? And I said, I'll come. I went for the interview, I was selected, and they asked me, what salary do you want? I said, I have worked for 1,000 rupees, I have worked for 3 lakhs rupees, you can decide. I had a call from Devagiri College, and that was from Father Joseph Paigada. He called me, Joseph, are you working? He knew everything about me. He asked me, will you come and join Devagiri College next week? I said, I will come, Father, because it is my dream to teach in Devagiri College. You know that it is too difficult to leave a principal's job and to be a teacher or a lecturer in a college. And that too without informing the manager. And luckily what happened, after I said this, 2 people came to my house, and that is Kirakrakate, Namade Shaji, Namade Tangicha Master, Adekatinde Bhariyude sister Kodeyanu. She was a retired teacher, just retired, and she came home for looking for a job at MES. Any science or social science or any subject, she said. I said, definitely you will be posted. Tomorrow you can come for the interview. They didn't believe what I said. I said, definitely we will take you. Please come for the interview. And when she came for the interview, I said, you are posted as the principal. She was given the principal's post, and I went to Devagiri College. And after the corona, I was sleeping, and then I had a call from Jaco Kalambarbe. Joseph sir, you are not going to the Devagiri College now after the COVID and all, and would you like to come here? I said, it's okay. I have not been to Alfonso College. Then he extended the talk and said, will you take your certificates as well? I said, it's okay. I had my certificates and I went in, and he had planned everything. Another 2 more years there because of the NAC visit and all. Because the NAC chairman was my own friend and colleague in Oman, who was the Vice Chancellor from Bangalore University. Actually, I had no job when I said 31st March is the last working day. I had no other job or anything like that. Then there was a man, Nicholas, you remember? Nicholas, the French guy. He came to me accidentally. And after talking to him, we became good friends and we went to Ooty and all. I saw his beauty, I would say. What he really liked was about permaculture, a lifestyle. And then I asked Nicholas, why don't you make a few presentations? What presentation? He has never been to school since he left school. And he never wanted to be a teacher also. And I said, this is something interesting you can. Okay, for you I can come to a couple of schools. I prepared a brochure and I sent it to 3 different colleges and schools. And MES Kaidapuil was the first one to cover. I said, how much would it cost? I said it would cost you nothing but only his accommodation and transportation. He immediately booked the hotel for him. Transportation was my own call. We had a grand welcome there with the school band and all. And then after that meeting, the same KMT asked me, since you left, that post is vacant. Would you take the principal's post? So at 56, I am principal again, without a single application. That's me. Thank you so much. I think I would say something more about my wife, because Shiny, I met even before. It's an accidental meeting Shiny. Actually, I had come down from Ujjain to write UGC examination. But my grand uncle told me, you have to go to see a girl next day because he had promised it. She is his daughter's, who is a nun, her student. I obeyed him, I went there, and the first thing I told the girl was that I am not prepared for a marriage. Marriage is not in my head because I have my brother, 2 sisters, everyone with me in Ujjain, and I am taking care of them. And she said, we had never met before that, but she said, she knew everything about me through her sister who is a nun and also my uncle's daughter who is a nun. And she had come for the marriage this year. And she also had told in the family there shouldn't be any inquiry from outside unless she meets me. I told her, please sit down there. She was standing till that time. I told her to sit down. Then we talked and decided everything about the shopping, about the engagement, about the wedding date. I am saying we fixed the date, everything. And it took an hour and a half for us to decide everything. And when we came out, it was as if we got married. Right. So I can take decisions instantaneously, but long plan and long decision is not possible for me. So I can, Dr. Santhosh always used to say, I'm a man of miracles or man of actions. So I can plan anything within short time and execute it. But long time plan is very difficult for me. Thank you so much for listening to me and giving me this opportunity.
Really motivating, sir. Really.